Hello friends. So I am going to build a full stack application. We're going to create, read, update, and delete to-dos. To do this, we are going to be using Postgres for our database, knex.js for our database migration, seeds, and queries, express.js for our routes and rendering, handlebars.js for our server-side view templates, and we'll be using Bootstrap on the front end for our user interface. I have here a checklist of all the things we're going to need to do to create this CRUD app. So let's get started. I'm going to start by generating an Express app. So right now, where am I? I am in dev playground CRUD. Yeah, so that's that README file. I'm gonna create a folder called server, and I'm gonna generate my Express app inside of that server folder. So let's go in there. Oh, I am in there. And I'm going to generate an Express app in this directory. So --git will create a git ignore file for me, and --hbs will set the view engine as handlebars. So that happened, and now if we look at it, we have our Express app. Let's try it out. So let's try npm start. Oh, well, that's not going to work because I need to install my dependencies. So I'm going to install those real quick. Now we can npm start. That's running. Let's bring up Chrome. And we have an Express app. Welcome to Express. Cool. So let's check the box. Generate an Express app. I think so. All right. Now create a database and a table. So we're going to be CRUDing to-dos. So let's create a database for our to-dos. So here I'm just going to do create db, and I'm just going to say my life because it contains all the things, and to-dos are one thing in my life, so why not? Okay, created the database. So now I need to create the to-dos table. So I'm going to use knex to do that. So I'm going to say knex migrate make, and we're going to make a migration for the to-do table. No local knex install found. Cool, I need to add it. So I'm going to add knex. I'm going to go ahead and add PG as well. So PG is our database driver. That's what good words. That is what's going to let us talk to our database. Go. Obviously, yarn add knex and PG. Fantastic. All right, let's make that migration. I don't know how to program. All right, let's initialize knex, of course. The first thing you should do when you're using knex. So that creates our knex file. A lot of stuff in here. Pretty much, I want to use this one, but for development instead. So I'm just going to name this development. I want Postgres. For connection, I'm just going to leave that as a connection string. So Postgres //localhost. And the database I created was my_life. And those are like all the default options. Fun to look at, but I don't need them. Now let's try to make that migration. Sweet. So created migration. Created this migrations folder, and now we have a to-do migration. So let's create ourselves a table. Just to make myself a note up here, I'm going to want a to-do to have a title. This is like text. All right, look away from the screen, close your eyes, take a quick break. Okay, so it's going to have a title column that is of type text. It's going to have a priority that is of type integer. This is like 1, 2, 3. It's going to have a, what else? Description, maybe? That's also text. And also let's say done. So this is a boolean. So it's true if that to-do is done and false if not. Actually, let's add a date too, because why not? And this is going to be of type date time. Okay, so let's create it. So in here, I need to return knex.schema.createTable. What's the name of the table? To do. Then I need a callback function that takes the table that I can put some columns on. So first we can just say table.increments. That's going to give us an ID column that is of type serial. That's a primary key. And then we're going to create this text column called title. I'm also going to say this is not nullable. So that way it is impossible to create a to-do without a title. So then I'm going to do table.description. That is not how you do that. Table.text, and the name of the column is description. I'll let that one be null. We don't have to, that's optional. Don't forget priority. Let's throw that on there. Table.integer priority. This one is also not nullable. We shouldn't be able to set that to null. We'll need a table.boolean. Done. And we're going to default to false. And this is also not nullable. So that way, when I insert a to-do, I don't have to specify done. It's just automatically going to be false. And finally, we need that date column. So table.datetime, date. This is also not nullable. And I can maybe do a default. I'm going to go look at the docs. So the default value should just be the date that it was inserted. So like new date, something like that. Let's go to the docs. Knex.js.org. I wanted to do default. Default. Oh, default to. I mean, I used that right like 3 lines above. But can I pass a date into it? Probably not. It's going to be like the date. Nah. I'm not going to have a default. But it is not nullable, so you have to insert it. We'll handle that in our express route. Fantastic. Now, the exports.down is what we need to do the opposite of what we just did. So when this migration is rolled back, what do? So the opposite of creating a table is dropping a table. What do we want to drop? To do. When do we want to drop it? Now. Okay, so created my table, got all my columns, looks good. Let's try to run this migration. So knex migrate latest. Looks like it worked. Let's dive into PSQL land and see if it actually worked. So what I do have a table called to do. Let's describe it. Sweet, that is exactly as I described it. So that worked. Now, well, let's check a box. Don't forget to do that. Create the database / table. Done. Seed table with sample data. So let's make a seed. So knex seed make please to do. That creates a seeds folder and a to do. I'm going to remove this boilerplate and just create an array of to dos. To dos. This is going to have objects. They're going to have titles. Here we need to put the table name. So to do. Delete all the rows in the to-do, and then we'll insert a bunch of rows. Let me go grab my handy-dandy comment. Use it as a reference as I create some sample data. Okay, so title. Build a CRUD app. And the priority is 1, because that's the most important thing we could do. And the date is just going to be like right now. So we'll say new date. And we need a bunch more of those, so let's copy it. Title here is do the dishes. That's like a priority 3. What else can we do? We can render a view. It's like priority 2. And finally, walk the dog. It's like priority 5, because I don't have a dog. Now, we got a bunch of to-dos, so let's insert them into the database. So, hey knex, take that good old to-do table, and let's insert this good old array of to-dos. There we go. So, let's zoom out a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so first, remove all the rows in the to-do table. Then let's create us some sample to-dos and then insert them into the to-do table. Fantastic. What just happened? I did something weird. Okay, but that's ready to go. Let's try to run this. So knex seed run. Okay, no errors. Moment of truth. Select star from to do. Hey now. And look at that. We got nice little dates. Everything is not done, and the description is empty. That sounds great. Yeah, cool. So let's check the box. Seed the table with sample data. Okay, now list all records with get/to-do. Oh my god, how do I do that? Whoa. Okay, where do I start? App.js. That is the beginnings of our Express app. I need to create a route. How am I going to do that? We can see how they created routes. So they brought in routes from route/index, and if we look in that folder, this variable is basically this router. And then they use that here. So what I want to create my own router for to-dos. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy this index file, duplicate, and I'm going to name it todo.js. So it's like exactly the same, but except now I'm going to put all my to-do stuff in there. And the title in here is like to-do. Now in my app.js, I'm going to bring that in. So right here, I'll say like var to-do equals require. Let's go to my routes folder and grab that file that I just created, the to-do file. So this variable is equal to this router from the to-do file. And now I want to use that at /to-do. So right here, if I say app.use /to-do, so when you see the /to-do URL, Mr. Express Router, I want you to use that router that I defined in that file called todo.js. And that's exactly what it will do. So we have now defined, this is the route that's going to get hit when we go to /to-do. So let's try it out. Let's start up NodeMon. Port 3000 is already in use. Oh, is NodeMon already started? It is not, but we'll kill that guy and then start NodeMon. Cool. Do we want to allow Node to accept incoming connections? I guess so. Okay. Let's try it out. Okay. That's the index view, but if I go to /to-do, there it is. So that view is rendering, and I now have a /to-do route. So let's look at my checklist again. List all records with get/to-do. So this is a get on /to-do, and like it is /to-do because I'll say it here. This router is mounted at http://localhost 3000/to-do. So that means every route I define in this file is going to be prepended after to-do. And so because this is / this corresponds to to-do. And that is because I mounted it like that there. Cool. So I need to render all of the to-dos from the database. How am I going to do that? We need a database connection. We need to connect to that database so we can get some data out of it. So let's create that connection. Create a DB folder. In there, let's create a file. Let's call this knex. And we're going to use knex to connect to the database. First thing I need to do is get the environment. So let's create a variable. I'm being sort of inconsistent with my const and vars. I think I used var in app.js just because all the code around it was var. But in here, I'm going to use const because this is my file. Okay, so the environment is process.env.node.env or development. So right now, right off the bat, like what is happening here? I'm creating a variable called the environment, and this is going to be the current environment that this code is running in. So let's just log that. So let's log the environment variable, and I'm just going to run this file from node. So over here, I'm going to say node run the file in the DB folder called knex. So when it logged environment, it logged development. Makes sense because I'm on my personal computer. This is development. However, if the node env environment variable was defined, which it is on Heroku, like here I could say node env equals production. I can type. There we go. And now if I run that file again, didn't work. But if I run the file and set the variable at the same time, then that will work. So now, set the environment variable node env to be production and run db knex, and it prints out production. So when this code runs on Heroku, this environment will be equal to production. Cool. So now I need a configuration. Where am I going to get the config connects file? That's where we connect it to the database. So I, right now, in development, am going to use this. I'm just going to go ahead and create the one for production because it's really easy. So first, name it production instead of development. The connection is process.env.database URL. And just for kicks, you can throw that and SSL equals true on the end of there. And that's so if we can run migrations and seeds locally, and it will work. It won't throw an error because we're doing it securely. Okay, so but I want to get the configuration from that file. So let's require in that file. So I'm in the DB folder. I need to go up one directory and then grab connects file. So that requirement is going to bring in this whole big ol object. But I don't want the whole thing. I just want this one. I want to connect to that database. So I want this object. So, right. So pull in that file and then get the property that is the current environment. So remember, we logged the current environment. That is production. So that's going to get the production, which is development. That's going to get the development. You know what? Let me change this back to development because it's probably going to mess me up. I digress. What are we doing? We're building a CRUD app. Let's connect to the database. Okay. Module.exports equals require. We're going to bring in the connects library. Then we're going to invoke it with the configuration. Now what that does is it just connects to the database. So that config is equal to this object. And so you pass that into connects and it says, hey, there's a nice old database URL. I'll connect to it and give you that connection. So this file now exports a connection. Let's use it in our routes. So if I go into routes and then I go into that to-do file that I defined, we can bring this database connection in. So I'm going to call it connects. So I'm going to say const connects equals require. Go into the go up one directory, then go into the DB folder and grab that connects file. And so that is our active connection to the database. Now the first thing I need to do is get all of the to-dos from the database. So if I say, hey connects, go to that to-do table. I'm just going to throw this in here for clarity, but select all the rows in that to-do table, and then give me back those to-dos. And I'm going to do something with it. What am I going to do? I'm going to render all of those to-dos on the page. So instead of rendering index, let's call it all. So I want to render a page called all. And on that page, I should have access to a property called to-dos, and the value is going to be this array of to-dos that I just got back from the database. Let's just run this and see what happens. So now when I go to /todo, failed to look up view all in the views directory. So that just means I need to create the all view. So let's create that view. all.hbs handlebars. So now in this file, I want to iterate over those to-dos. So if let's check out the handlebars docs right quick. If I search for each, yeah, so each is a way to repeat over a collection in a template. So you just throw that on there, and then everything inside that array will get basically that as a template repeated for everyone. So I want to do the same thing, but with to-dos. So if we use that syntax, the each syntax, so, but not comments, to-dos, and then you give your closing /each. And inside of there, each to-do has a title, so I want to show it on the page. And let's just throw that into like an h2 tag. So in our, oh, I created that in the wrong folder. Sorry, guys. Okay, quick break. All should be in the views folder. Okay, now that makes sense. So when we hit when we get a GET request on /todo, select all the rows from the to-do table, then with those rows, pass them into the all view as the variable with the property called to-dos. And then in the view, we iterate over each of those to-dos and show their title. Show. Full stack application. Okay, so it's working. So we grab data from the database. Now we're showing it on the web page. Let's check a box. List all records with get /todo. Hell yeah. But now let's make it look nicer. So we're going to add Bootstrap. So if you go to the Bootstrap website, you go to their Getting Started page, which I'm already at, you can grab the CDN for Bootstrap. So I'm just going to grab the CSS and throw that into my layout page. So the layout is the container for all the views that get rendered by handlebars. So I'm just going to replace that existing CSS file with this Bootstrap CDN. Give that comment. And then we'll refresh the page and see what happens. Ooh, different font. Means it's working. I am going to use some Bootstrap classes and make this a little nicer. So on the body, I'm going to give it a class of container, so it has a little bit of padding like that. Cool. Now in the Bootstrap docs, let's do like a list group and show the to-dos in the list group instead of just headers. Yeah, something like this. So in my all page, first I'm just going to paste what I got from Bootstrap. So I want to do this. The thing I want to repeat is the li list group item. So let's throw that in there. That is the thing that I need to repeat. And then don't need all that because we're generating this. Server-side rendering is fun. And then here is where I want the title. I can just remove that H2. So if I've done everything correctly, we will get a Bootstrap list group for our to-dos. Yay! That's cool. I'm going to add... What am I going to add? I want like just a little margin on top. So where are we? In the layout page, actually I'm going to bring back in that local style file. Style file. So if we look in public, in style sheets, there's style.js. So that's the one I want. Style sheets / style.css. Is that right? Looks right. And then in here, I'm just going to say the body has a margin top of like 3 ems. Boom. Cool. I like that. So let's get rid of that. Let's just close everything. I have too many windows open. Now go back to the README. What was I doing? Adding Bootstrap. I think I did that, yeah. So we've got Bootstrap, we've got a little margin, we've got a nice little list group. Looks cool. Checkbox. And actually, if we look at this rendered, real checkboxes. Sweet, right? Okay. Show a new form with to-do / new. So here's what needs to happen. When I click on a to-do, oh no. I'm getting ahead of myself. Stop it. Okay. What does the thing say? Show a new forms for /to-do / new. Okay, so I want to be able to add a new to-do. I need to create a form. So let's create a route for it. Let's go over here to to-do. And we need a route for to-do / new. So this is mounted at to-do and then /new, right? So it says show a new form with /to-do / new. Cool. So now I actually don't need to get anything from the database because I'm just rendering a form. Easy as it gets. So let's create a page called new. And I don't even have to pass in any data. That's all I need. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to convert this to ES 2015 because I can't help myself. Make that an arrow function. And all is right with the world. Cool. But let's create this new view so that we can render it. So views, new file, new.handlebars. Cool. So in here, I'm going to create a form. Class of form, because it's a Bootstrap thing. The action, eventually we'll talk about the action, but that's just a /to-do. And it's going to be a post, but we'll talk about that later. I need a form group for the title. So let's call this title. Title. The ID should be title, placeholder, enter a to-do. No help text. Let's see what we got. So this view will be rendered at to-do / new. So if I go to do, but click /new, cool, we got a nice little input box. You know what? I'm going to create a button on this page that links to that. So let's go to the all page. And then right here, I'm just going to say, create myself a nice old button. and say, well, I'm gonna make it an anchor tag so I can actually link to that page. This is gonna say new to do. Yeah, look at that. And the href is just gonna be slash to do slash new. Button, there it is. Let's give it a color. Let's look at the button colors. Well, I guess we could look at those colors too. No, success warning. CSS. Buttons. What colors do we have? Okay, let's do a primary button. Is it buttons primary? Yeah. Nice, blue button. All right, new to do. Cool, here's the form. So to do has a title. What else does a to do have? I have my handy dandy comment that I left myself in my seeds. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, that's all a to do has. But for the form, we'll definitely have like a priority, so you can set the priority. We'll have a description box, and the server will automatically set those. So we need a drop down for priority and a text area for description. So, on the new page, let's create not a form group. I'll go look at the Bootstrap docs for like a drop down menu. But yeah, we've got title, drop down menu, and then text area. So I'll make this a text area. The ID is going to be description. And the label is description with a capital D. Got myself a text area with a form inside of it, which means I need like a closing text area tag. Yeah, weird. Okay. So I've got the description. Let's add a drop down. I don't know. Like, is it just a select box? Is there something special about it? No idea. Am I looking for like drop down? Selects. It is literally just a select box. Way to go, Bootstrap. Way to make it easy. Okay, so should I put it in a form group? Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Yeah. Form group. Yeah, there's 5 priorities. What do we got? A drop down. Sweet. Let's give it a label though. For priority. And let's give this an ID of priority. Sweet, that is definitely a form. Okay, I need a button. Button default, we'll do success, because we want to create that to do. So it's a create. Look at that. Oh, well, did I do it? Oh, it's button dash success. Nice green button. Okay, so when I type into this, so the to-do is create a new to-do. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. Leave the description blank. Priorities 2. And then when I click create, it should make a post request to create this. What happens? Nothing. Why does nothing happen? Because this does not have a type of submit. So button type is submit. That will actually submit the form. Now let's talk about the actual action. So a post request. Actually, oh no. So show new form with it. I am done with that one. Boom. Now create a record with post/to. That's what I need to work on next. So the view is here, beautiful, but I want to be able to fill it out, and when I click create, send that data to my server, insert that data into the database, and then redirect to show that to-do page. Okay, so create a record with post/to. So let's create the route. So I'm just going to copy that route, but instead it's going to be /post. So when you post a /todo, remember every route in this file is mounted at todo, so we can leave that off. So when there's a post request at /todo, what do we need to do? We need to insert that to do into the database. So I'm going to do some really quick validation here. So let's just say if valid to do and pass in rec.body. So I'm going to create that function that's going to validate it. Then I want to insert into the database. Else, if it was not a valid to do, then I want to return an error. Well, not return. I'll say respond with an error. So let's write this function valid to do. For now, I'm just going to throw it right here. We'll pull it out to another file later. So this is a function that takes in a to do. And what do we want to validate? So we want to make sure that it has a title first. So we're going to return to do. Well, let's say that we want to make sure that the type of to do.title is a string, because if it's undefined, then the type is going to be undefined. So this would return false. And so if it is a string, if to-do.title, so if it's a string, that means I can call the trim function, meaning I can get rid of all the white space around it. So if it's a string, and when I trim it, that is not equal to the empty string. So title cannot be empty. That's what this is saying. What else do we want to check? We want to check that the priority is not empty and that it is a number. So let's check the type of to-do.priority and make sure that that is a number. Yeah. And that's really all we need to validate, right? And yeah, then we won't have to, we don't have to validate the description because that can be empty. So yeah, that's pretty much all we need. So this function is going to return if the to-do title is a string, if the string isn't empty, and if it has a priority property that is a number. Cool. So let's create that to-do. So if it was valid, now I know I have a valid one. Let's create it. So we'll say title is rec.body.title. And the description. So whether or not they put it, we'll accept it. The priority is rec.body.priority. I can do it. There we go. And what else would we have? That's about it. Yeah. So create this to do. Now let's insert into the database. So to insert it into the database, we'll say, hey knex, give me that to do table. And you know what I want to do on that to do table, knex? I want to insert a new to do. So what to do are we going to insert? We're going to insert this to do that we just created. Boom. Okay. What do you want to do next? Well, knex, after you've inserted that to do, let's return the whole to do. So give me back all of the columns on that to do after it has been inserted. And then I'm going to have access to the to do after you have inserted it. However, because this is an insert, that is actually an array of length 1. So here I'm just going to say to do is equal to to-dos at 0. And now I have violated a JavaScript law and overridden a const variable, so I'm going to make it let instead. Now, okay, we successfully sent the to-do to the server. We have validated it. I should have stopped talking. It's break time. Okay, look away from the screen. Okay, so at this point we have sent the to-do to our server. We then try to validate it, make sure it has the right properties that we want. It does have the right properties, so let's create a to-do based on those properties from the body. Then insert that into the database. After it has been inserted, we're then just going to send... actually, I don't want to return star. I really just need the ID. I'm a crazy person. So grab that first ID, put it in this variable called ID. And now I need to, check it out, redirect on create. So after I have created this thing, I want to redirect two of you to view that thing that I just created. So I'm going to say res.redirect. You should go to /todo/ID. So go to the URL of the to-do with the ID of the to-do that was just created, right? Right? Am I right? Am I right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll test the code. We'll run it. We'll see if I'm right. Okay, create a record with post test. I got the code. That's fine and great. Now I need to make sure that my client side form, not this guy, this guy. I need to make sure that I'm actually sending the data. So let's try it. Let's see what happens. And as a precautionary measure, let's log rec.body. Let's see what we're getting here. Rec.body. Okay, node's running. Express is running. Let's try it out. So I'm gonna refresh the page. New to do. Create single to do page. Great. Okay, it's spinning. What's happening? If I go back over here, okay, so check it out. When we logged rec.body, it was totally empty. But my server is also hanging. So you know what we forgot? Respond with an error. So let's actually do that. So if the body was invalid, I'm just going to do a res.status 500 server error. And then res. I don't know, do I redirect? What do I do? Let's render the error page. Render the error with a new error. Can I do that? What is the error page expecting? It's expecting an object that has a message property and an error property. So let's create an object that has a message property that says invalid to do. So whatever you sent me was not valid. And then I don't even need the error property. So just do that. Okay, so server restarted. Let's refresh it. I want to create a new to-do. I want to create the single to-do view. Go. Invalid to do. So it responded with an error. That's fun, isn't it? That. So, but what's happening is if we look at the body that is passing over is totally empty. Why is it empty? Let's look at our form. What do you notice about the form? Pause the video. Okay, unpause the video. Well, I guess at this point you would have unpaused the video. My inputs do not have names on them, so I'm not actually sending any values to the server. So on each of these inputs, let's add a name. So this name should match the column in the database. So this one should be title. This one should be description. So name equals description. And this priority, this select box, should have a name of priority. You know what? I think this is going to send over the values as a string, so my validation is going to work. But let's see the error. So we now have some names on it. Now we should be sending some data to the server. Let's try it out. So let's go to to-do/new. Let's say do the thing. Go. Invalid to do. So if we look at it, we're actually sending it over to the server now. So we have that. But priority is a string, and it wants my validation said it should be a number. So let's not see if it's a number. Let's see if the type of priority is not equal to undefined, meaning they did send us a priority. And if I try to parse to-do.priority as a number, and that is not nan, so I can say is nan. Then we know it's a valid to do. Pause the video, expand that, think about your life, why have you decided to become a programmer, and then press play. Okay, what was I even doing? Oh yeah, validation. So I want to create a new to-do. Okay, So the title, hello world. Empty description. Oh no, sorry, that's it. The world is nice. It is. It's a great place. You should be happy. Smile. Create. Oh no! Null call value and column date. So thank you, database migration, for preventing me from inserting a null date. I just want to thank you for that. So what we need to do, and I said we should do this way earlier, but we didn't do it, we need to define a default date column. So let's go back over here. And this new to-do that we're about to insert, let's give it a date property. So date, new date. Boom, shakalaka, just like that. We're in business. Let's make a new to-do. Create the single to-do page. Create. Oh, shit. So I believe it actually worked. But then when it redirected us to this view that we don't have yet. But check this out. Boom. Create the single to-do page. We're CRUDing. We're full stack. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's go back over here. What am I doing? We're checking the boxes because that's what we do. Create a record with post task to do. I'm creating records all day, man. All right. Show one record with get to do /id. So that's why we got that 404, because this view does not exist yet. So let's create it. So now when I make a get request for / some specific to-dos ID, I want to render that view. So the view I'm eventually going to render is, let's call this single. So this is the single to-do view. And then it's just going to have a to-do property that is a to-do. And I'm working backwards, and you're thinking I'm crazy, but let's do this. So right now, this select statement is getting all the rows from the to-do table. We only want the row that has the specific ID. So here, we're actually going to do some early validation. So let's create a variable called ID and set that equal to rec.params.id. And what I'm going to do is do an if statement. So if the type of ID is undefined, so I was just thinking how I could potentially spell that wrong and then my code would just break, but I didn't. Undefined is spelled right. But so if they, for whatever reason, don't have an ID defined, then I don't want to try to look that up in the database. So I'm going to say if the ID is not undefined, then we'll look it up in the database based on its ID. Else, let's send back an error. Let's say, I'm going to copy my error code. So let's say invalid ID. Cool. But we need to fix our knex statement. So, hey knex, select the row where the ID is equal to this ID that they have so lovely provided for me in the URL. And once you have that, just grab the first one, because I don't want anything else. I just want that first row. And then take that to do, and let's render the single view. All right, knex. That's all I want to do. All right, let's see what you got. So one thing we should do though is on this list page is each of these to-dos should link over to its single view page. So let's check out Bootstrap components, listing group. Here it comes. There it is. We actually want to do linked items. So how do we do that? Oh, we just make it an anchor tag. Beautiful. Okay, so on my all page, let's change this from an li to an anchor tag and give it an href of /todo /id. So this current to-do's ID. Now, looky what happens. Refresh the page. When I hover over, look at the URL in the bottom left corner of my screen. To-do /1, to-do /2, to-do /3, 4, 4, 5. So each one has an ID. And if I click on one, failed to look up view single in the views directory because we have to create it, but let's go do it. So over here on views, I'm going to say new file, single.handlebars, HBS. And so on this page, I want to show all of the information about that individual to do. So how should I do that? Like with some H1s? I don't know. I'm trying to visualize this. It could be like a media object? No. It's a to-do. There's no image. There's a panel. Yeah, how about this? It's got like, it's a panel with a header and then a footer too, and the footer is like the date. Yeah, sounds great. Let's do that. Stop it. That one. That's the only one I want. Okay. So on the single view, I want to show here, I just want to show the to-do's title. And in the body, I want to show the to-do's description. And then I want to go back over to the Bootstrap docs and grab the footer, so this guy, panel footer. And I'm going to make that the date. And also, these nice little badges, I'm going to throw a, the badge is going to be the priority. So let's throw that on the title too. So span badge, and that's just going to be priority. Beautiful. All right, what do we got? It's totally empty. That's fun. What happened? Okay, so my view is empty. Let's log the to-do that I'm getting back from the database. So routes todo.js, the single one. Let's log this to-do. So this is the to-do that I got. Where are you to-do? Oh, you know, I mean, I can see why, but can you see why? But yeah, we'll log it, and it should be coming over. So we'll log this. Okay, there's that to-do. Boom. That's all my data. But you'll notice that I sent it an object with a property called to-do and a value called to-do. So if I wanted to get this to work, if I wanted to, not saying I do, but if I wanted to, I could go to the single view and make this to-do.title. And I could update all the other properties, right? I could do that. Because I'm capable of that. I am a software developer, right? I could do that. But what I could also do is leave the properties the way I have it. So like I don't have to say .to-do because I don't like to type. I don't like, that's 4 characters that I don't want to type. So now I can go back to my route and just pass in the to-do, right? Because if I pass in that object is going to have, let's look at it. It's going to have these properties. It's going to have title, priority, description, done, date. It's going to have those properties. So when the view renders, it has access to title, priority, description, date. You're with me, right? You get it. You're full stack. Sweet. So build a CRUD app, priority 1, and oh yeah, we got the date. We're flying along, guys. We are building this CRUD app like there is no tomorrow. Saving the world. Show one record with get/to-do/id. Cool. Done. Show an edit form with... You're killing me. Oh, how am I going to do that? Okay, show an edit form with get/to-do/id/edit. Well, I know one thing. I'm going to create a route that has that exact URL. So let's do that. So let's throw it right there. So when I say route.get, that thing that I just copied. Okay, when you hit that route, I need to do something. I don't know what I need to do yet. I probably need to take a break. Like, what time is it? Where are you? But yeah, I need to render something. So this doesn't. I guess this is going to require logic, but let's render edit. So let's add a button that will link to the edit page. So let's go to the single view. We'll throw a button right below that div. We'll give a class of button. Okay, there's my break timer. I'll finish this up and then I'll start up another video after I take a break. But let's do this. So create this button. We'll do button warning. No, yeah, why not? Warning. We'll say edit to do. And this should just be an anchor tag that links to, not that, but that URL I just made, this. Where was I? I need to take a break. Okay. I want the href to be that URL, but I'm not specifying an ID parameter for Express, I'm specifying it for handlebars. So if I throw that in there, get a fancy little href. So refresh the page. Got a button. It's orange, and if you look at the bottom left corner of my screen, to do /1/edit. So I'm going to click that. The view is not found. Stay tuned for more after these messages. All right, I am back, and better than ever before. But if you remember where we left off, this edit page was not found. So let's create it. If we remind ourselves, we're currently working on the show and edit form when you see a GET request on todo /someid/edit. So let's create that route. So in our routes, we'll go to todo. We attempted to do it. But check it out. This router file, everything is prepended with todo. So I need to remove that because that's redundant. Now we have a route. Now when I do this, failed to look up view edit. So we're trying to render edit. Now I need to actually create that. So let's actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy the new page because the edit page is going to look basically exactly the same, except instead of doing a post request, it does a put request. So let's duplicate this new page and let's call it edit. Now what we do is for each of these inputs, we're going to set a value. So the title value is going to be todo.title. And we'll definitely wrap that in double quotes. It still has to be valid HTML. Don't get to make up our own rules. Okay, text area is going to be description. And then this value is going to be priority. Sweet. And technically we should have a checkbox for done. All right, let's just get this working. Let's see what happens when I do this. And that's not create, it's update. If you're keeping track, we are now on the letter U of the word CRUD. Okay, todo/edit. Sweet. So I see a page. It says update. I'm going to make that not success. What does it say? Danger. Yeah, red. Sweet. I don't know. Is that the right color? You tell me. Yeah, so I got the page, but I want to actually display the values of the to-do with the ID 1. So we gotta send that over. How are we going to do that? Get it from the database. How are we going to get it from the database? We're going to use knex. How are we going to use knex? We're going to use JavaScript. How are we going to use JavaScript? Stop it. Okay. So right here, I need to get the to-do with the ID in the URL. Right? So we'll say, hey, knex, give me that to-do table, and I want you to select where the ID of the to-do is equal to, you know what? I've written this logic before, and I'm not going to write it again, and you can't make me. But if we go up here to get by ID, I have this beautiful logic. Look at all this beautiful logic. Like, it literally does everything that I want to do, except renders a different view. So let's abstract it, because that's what we do as computer programmers. We abstract the shit out of shit. It's 11 o'clock. I'm just tired. I'm sorry, guys. Let's get through this. Okay, I'm gonna put this in a function. So we'll say respond and render to do. That should take in the ID and the response. And then right there, I'm going to define this. Respond and render to do. That takes in the ID and the response. And it does that stuff. Got to give it the function keyword because we know how to JavaScript. Did I pass everything in right? Yeah, hell yeah. But the only thing I want to do is I want to say the view name. And now instead of single, here I'm going to pass in view name. And now when I render it here, I'm going to pass in the word single. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing for my... Am I? Oh, no, okay. I scared myself. I thought I had to do something else. But now, look, guys, isn't that freaking amazing? One function, it does it for both things. So when you go to /ID, show the single... show the single view. When you go to /edit, show the edit page. Check this shit out. Boom, build a CRUD app, priority, what? Okay, so what happens if we go to the main page and we walk the dog? Priority 4, but if I click on edit, oh, it's happening. Okay, but the only issue is priority is not getting selected. Let's look at our element inspector. So if we look at the priority thing, we'll see that the value is 5. However, none of my options have values on it. So how would it know? It's not smarter than not how smart it would be. What I'm trying to say is, if you just add a value, everything works. Number 1 rule. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey CJ, you forgot to replace that. No, I didn't. I'm about to. Look, I'm doing it right now. Stop it. Okay. Now, if we save it and we refresh it, and the priority is not set anymore. Like, I don't know. What do I do? Google it. HTML select set value. I don't know. Is that how you Google? How can I set the default value? Selected equals. Now that I can do. So I'll leave the values on there because why the hell not? Oh, you know what? Let's do this. So priority. Let's give it the word. Makes it feel more important. But what was I doing? Yeah. So selected. So not value. I say selected, and that will choose the right one. I choose you. Priority 1. What? What? I might need to pause this video, but maybe not. Let's figure this shit out. Selected equals 5. Value equals 5. But it's not selecting it. Oh, you have to add the selected attribute. Damn, how am I going to do that with handlebars? Conditional? Yeah, with a conditional. Fuck. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to edit this video. Condition. Learn more about built-in helpers. If I can handle that. Fucking A. Okay, so. It's in handlebars though, yeah, so wrap it. So if, oh my god, then I have to pass in an actual variable? It can't be this hard. It can't be this hard. Tell me it's not this hard. I guess I could definitely use JavaScript. But I'm doing server-side rendering. I'm trying to avoid writing client-side JavaScript, right? That's the point, right? No, it's not the point. It's not the point. Yeah, good job. You know how to use jQuery. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Fucking A. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video while we start it. My God. Alright, so where we left off, I was trying to pre-select the option based on the value of the to-do that you're currently editing. So we're currently working on this one, show an edit form with get to-do /id/edit. So on that form, I wanted the option to be pre-selected. I figured out how to do it, and I'll show you how I did it. But on here, if I click on any to-do and then edit that to-do, it'll show its priority. So if I go to-do/2, its priority is 3. To-do/3, its priority is 2. To-do/4, its priority is 5. So each one pre-selects this. So I found this Stack Overflow post where they created a handlebars helper where you can use this syntax like I have in there. You say select the value you want to select on. In our case, priority is the priority of the to-do, and that adds the selected option to whichever one. And so what I did in app.js, I just brought in handlebars and added the helper, and that worked out. Interesting that I had to do that to get that to work, but hey, that's server-side rendering. Cool. So yeah, the value's showing up. Now I need this to actually update the to-do, right? So show and edit form. Boom. Check the box. Now update a record with put to do /id. So I need to create a put route to /id. So we've got our get routes, got our post route. Now need a put route. I'm feeling a refactor coming on, but yeah, let's do this. So router.put. So when you put to a given ID, I want to update the to-do with that ID. So recres. And yeah, this is basically I can pull this into a function too. But instead of I'm going to tell it whether it should insert or update and where it should redirect to. So let's do that. So I'm going to pull all of this into a function. What are we going to call it? So this, what is this function doing? It is validate to do insert or update redirect. It's literally doing all those things. So it's going to need access to the request and the response. Yeah, totally. It's going to need access to both of those. So let's create this function. Validate to do insert, update, redirect. Res. I'm gonna need the redirect parameter too. So right there, redirect. That's gonna be what URL do you want to redirect to? So if I grab this, throw it into this function, I want to redirect to I have caught myself. What am I doing? But I mean, basically, I need to pass this into the function, right? Because in this case, I need to insert and then immediately redirect to that ID. In our case, after we update, I should redirect to the view page. So let's pull this out. This is going to be a parameter. So let's just say. Yeah, let's just say callback. And there we're going to pass in the to-do. And so here we'll say callback. So rec res and then a callback function that takes in the to-do. We then insert that to-do and redirect to where we want to redirect to. So basically, I'm calling this function, validate to-do, insert, update, redirect, passing in the request and response. It's going to validate the to-do. If it was an invalid to-do, it immediately responds with invalid to-do. So if we attempt to update a to-do with invalid values, that's going to break too. However, specifying the date, let's pull that off, because I don't want to set the date every time you update it. So right here, this is where I'm going to say to-do.date equals that. I know, I should just do it without refactoring, but it's fun, guys. Okay, what's going on here? I need to put the function keyword. Need to learn how to write JavaScript. So, cool, got this handy little function. Now let's use it. So my put route can do exactly the same thing, but after it's been validated, instead of inserting it, I want to update where, come on, ID is equal to rec.params.id. And we're going to update that given the to-do, and then we don't want to redirect to, yeah, we do. But the thing is, this isn't going to give us back the ID. This is just going to give us back the thing. We don't care about it. We can just use rec.params.id. Fun with functions. Okay, what am I missing? Yeah, what if there is no record in the root database with that ID? I could just check for it, and I don't want to do the date there. Oh well, I won't handle that for now, but okay, I've got this put route. When I put an object to it, it's going to validate that object. It's going to make sure that the priority is good, the title, all that stuff is good. And then if it is, it's going to call this function with the to-do, and then we can decide what to do. So in the case of post, we inserted it. In our case, we're updating it. But if it was invalid, it would have immediately responded with an error. So I'm not duplicating logic. I've created that function that makes it fun. So let's try this out. So server is a login. Chrome is a here. So we go to edit 4. So I want to change walk the dog priority to be 4 instead. Let's click update. Did it work? It freaking worked. Holy shit. The only thing is doing a post request? That shouldn't... Did it create it? Oh, it created a new to-do. It posted instead of putted. Yeah, so now walk the dog is on there twice. So easy enough fix. So on the edit page, right now it's posting to /to-do. We want to put to /to-do/id. Cool. And so now if we go here, let's edit it. Its priority is 4. Let's make the priority 3 and update it. Oh no, it made a GET request with this big long URL, but I told it to make a PUT request. Well, my friends, now it's time that we have the talk about method override. So let's look it up. We're going to say express method override. But the idea is an HTML form can only ever post or get. It doesn't know how to put or delete. So we have to include this middleware that allows us to it allows us to do a put request and a delete request with a form. So let's install it. So over here, I'm going to say, hey Yarn, give me that method override package. Thanks, Yarn. So let's use it. So I need to pull it in, and this is telling me it should probably be in app.js. So let's go down here. Let's pull it in method override. How do we use it? Override with post having method equals delete. Sounds good to me. So we're just going to use that after our other middlewares. And most definitely before our to-do route, because that's where we need it most. But what this is saying is, in my form, I can use this method thing and tell it the actual method I want it to use. So in our case, for the edit form, we want the method to be post. And we want it to post against that, but then throw on there method equals put. So really, the method should be put, but method override is... Define it as post because that's the only thing you can do with HTML forms. But then method override is going to kick in and make this a put request instead. Cool. Let's try it out. So let's edit this to do. Let's try to walk the dogs and update it. That friggin' worked. Full stack. Say it with me, guys. Full stack. Full stack. Okay, so that's badass. That worked. We can edit any to do now. Let's go over to render review. Edit it, make that priority 1, because we're doing it all day long. Boom, priority updated. And if we go to edit it, priority is 1. Render review. Express is fun. If you don't think so, F off. Right? Update. Boom. And now it's like, it's got the description. This shit's full stack, man. Full stack. Okay, so let's check a box. We have now updated a record with a put to do/id. Fantastic. delete a record with delete/todo/id. So now I need a delete route. So it's going to be router. What was I typing? Router.delete a specific ID. So when I get a delete request for a given ID, let's delete it. So first we want to validate the ID. So we can copy that validation we did in this method up here. Or did we? Nope, we didn't. Where did we validate the ID earlier? Oh, this one. Yeah, if type of ID is not undefined. Should probably put it into a function. Yeah, why not? Respond. I'm going to have a function that calls another function. No, I'm going to copy and paste it for now. Do it later. So validate rec.params.id. So const id equals rec.params. So make sure it's a valid ID. And then we don't want to select. We just want to delete where the ID is that. And then we're not going to get anything back. Then we're just going to res.render. We'll render the all page. So when I see a delete request on /some ID, make sure that it's a valid ID. If it's not a valid ID, respond with an error. If it is a valid ID, let's find that to-do with that ID, delete it, and then not render, let's redirect to the all page, so /to-do. So after you delete something, redirect to the view all page. So the route is there, beautiful. We need a place to call it. So let's go to the view, like this, yeah, the single page. And so right here we have a button for edit. Let's throw a button for delete. I'm just gonna remove the href for now. Let's just button danger. And so now, if we go to a specific to-do, we have this button that lets us delete the to-do. But what we need to do is we need to make a delete request to /id to-do/id3 to delete the specific to-do. So what I can do is I can create a form right there, and when I click it, submit that form to make the delete request. So let's make that happen. So make a teeny tiny invisible form. And its action is going to be, what is it? It's /to-do, take a break, look away from the screen. To-do/id. And we need to use method override. And the method, well, the method is post, but here, underscore method, we're going to make that delete because we want this to be a delete request. We're going to throw that delete button inside of there, and we're going to make sure this is a type button. And this is a type submit. So when this button gets clicked, it's going to submit this tiny little form with a post request, but method override is going to kick in and make sure the method is delete. If we look at edit, did I do that right? So underscore method equals the method you want. Underscore method equals the method you want. Fun. Let's try it out. So the logs are running. Refresh the page. I put it in a form, which is a block level element, so it pushed it down one. Let's just put both of them in the form because only the second one is going to actually submit the form. So if I go to edit, that still works. Cool. But moment of truth. I click delete. It worked. Cool. Let's delete this one because I don't like walk the dogs. Full stack, full stack. It's working, guys. So we get this delete method on to-do with an ID of 7. So create the single to-do page. Well, for one, I have completed this to-do. So let's update my edit field. So if I go into edit, actually not, I'm getting ahead of myself or behind, or whatever. Let's check a box, guys. We're deleting to-dos, right? Walk the dog, delete it, don't got a dog, cool. So, check the box, delete a record with delete/to-do. I think we've done it. We have reached the full stack. We're doing all of our redirects too. So that means like after creating a new to-do, it redirects to the single view page. After updating a to-do, it redirects to the single view page. And after deleting a to-do, it redirects to the all pages. So let's just test that out. So I've got all my to-dos. Let's say I want to create a new to-do. And that is broken. Cool. Cool. Invalid input syntax for integer new. To-do/new, right? What could I possibly be doing wrong? Oh, it's where I've mounted my routes. And this is why we validate the ID, my friends. So what is happening is, when I go to to-do/new, that is actually hitting the /ID route, and it's saying ID is equal to new. So if I look at my routes, /new is defined below that. So when I see the request for /new, this route matches first. So what I need to do is just make sure that this is above that route. So now when you see to-do/new, you show that view, you don't try to show the single view page with something that has an ID of new. So cool, I can create a new to-do. To-do, finish CRUD app. Description, do the things. And this has like a priority too. Great. Cool, so I created it. It takes me to the single view page. So this is the view for a single to-do. And it has a priority of 2. There's the date. Sweet. I can go back in and edit it. I can change the priority to like 5 if I want. That works. That got updated. And then I could also delete a to-do. So when I click delete, it redirects to the all page. So let's just verify. If I go to the all page, finish CRUD app is there. But if I go into finish CRUD app and click delete, it actually gets removed and redirects to the all page. We are at full CRUD, people. There are a few things I could do here to make it a little bit nicer. Like on this page, maybe I have a link back to the all page. Yeah, on the edit page, I probably want like a checkbox for done or something like that. And then if it is marked as done and I update it, then on here it shows like with a line through it. I could do all these things, but at this point, it's just messing with the views. Like, I am at full stack. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Go out there, build full stack apps, change the world. Goodbye.